Good morning,
Whoa.
everybody.
Good morning. Good morning, Dave, who looks like he's shooting from the inside of the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah.
I've never been so scared.
It's a good movie. That movie is better than you have to buy into the premise. You have to agree with it, but if you agree with it, you'll have a good time.
Well, I'd say that you have to really buy into it because it's it's
That's
you
kind
have
of
to you have to really suspend your disbelief like on an extra level, I think.
I mean, they work
that
real.
that I was gonna say that's what it really taught us about movie savviness to a degree, because that was the thing. It's like people had debates whether or not it was real,
Well,
even
they
though they
made those
clearly.
debates.
But
They made that happen. They like told everybody it was real. They made the actors hide for like a
Yeah,
year and a half. Like they couldn't. You had to be like you had to hide to be able to do that move.
really,
Yeah.
well, I guess like yeah, and because I remember when it came out. I mean, I actually saw it in the theaters, and like it was so
getting
obvious.
old.
I know it was so obvious that it was not real. I mean, that's the thing. Like, but yeah, but because like there was that question, you had to have the debate, with people. So
And they set up websites and they gave
yeah,
out like have you seen flyers at premieres and stuff. Like
yeah.
they PT Barnum them. Hey, we have a guest, Andrew. Who is our guest?
Well, it's a student from a very long time ago, actually, that I'm very happy to see again. And you invite him to here, so Mr. David Piccolomini, right?
I didn't too. That's not bad. I've seen people get it
Yes.
before.
Hi,
Was that was
I'm
that the
David
setup you were
Pick.
trying to make me say his
I
name wrong?
honestly thought you were gonna nail it. I was surprised and disappointed in you.
Yeah, Andrew, you do piano. That's like very precise. We figured you could tickle the ivories of Piccolomini.
Let's try it again. Piccolomini. There we
There
go.
you go.
There
Nailed
you
it.
go. Beautiful,
All right.
incredible.
So
Hi
Dave,
guys,
who are
But
I'm
it
you?
but
David.
it really is good. It really is good to see you again because I've we I mean I remember you from back when you were a student, and I've been watching your career on Facebook and things like that. So it's nice to see you again.
All right, fine. I'll post more on Facebook. Thank you. Thank you so much. uh no, I mean this is very cool. Yeah, you were always a very cool teacher at when it really money varied in terms of uh but yeah, hi, I'm David Piccolomini. I'm a stand-up comedian. I have been on the TV show Kevin Hart's Road Comics, which no one's seen, but it's and honestly you don't have to. Also, I've known Brandon I'm responsible for getting Brandon into stand-up.
I did not
And
know that actually.
yeah. Him and I fought in the car, uh, and really enjoyed our time in the car for about 2 to 3 years of just driving up to Philadelphia from Maryland and Delaware.
just screaming at each other the whole time.
Really, one time, and he says it was a bit, but it did not feel like that at the time.
I think that's what makes
But
it a good
yeah, I get that. All right, Andy Kaufman. But Brandon one time screamed the entire theme song of Mystery Science Theater 3000 to me. Screamed it because I didn't know it off the top of my head, and he was so mad and just screamed. I'm driving, by the way, on 95 up to
bit.
Philadelphia, and he's just like, in a distance.
Yeah. One time I refused to sit next to Dave when we were riding with a fellow friend. Whenever layer he was on, I refused to sit on the same layer Dave was on. Another time, there was one really nice time when we were quietly listening to music, driving from one set to another. And then the construction worker was like, "Hey, crazy night." And we were like, "Yeah, it is." So that's the nice story about that. Like, I feel like I always got head on the nice one.
No, I know. Hold on. My favorite one though, we didn't actually do stand up. We were like, because when you start doing comedy, you have to be so hungry. You have to find mics wherever you go. So we went to this place that was we walked a mile to this Ethiopian restaurant where we heard there was an open mic, and we walked in, and it was just people in their 30s playing a ska version of Katy Perry.
Yep.
What?
I swear to
That's
God, this is
amazing.
true.
Also,
We walked in, and we were so on a mission though for stand up that we walked in, we looked, and we just slowly backed out. We were like, "This is it." But
Like that was the limit. Doing ska versions of Katy Perry was the limit.
there's actually a part of that story,
ironically,
Dave, you don't tell. which is I went to the bathroom and someone had pooped on the floor, and that is why we left. I think we would have stayed for a set, and I was like, Dave, someone pooped on the floor. We got to go. We got to get out of this.
I forgot about that part. Katy Perry's Firework was enough to make me walk.
That's a poop on the floor.
Yeah, no, I mean, why don't you, and you know what, I'm not going to shit on him any more than I already have.
Well, we should probably,
because it is just people following their art, but it is weird when that's your art.
Hey, Andrew. Hi, Andrew.
Good morning, Brandon.
Start that timer, please.
I'm happy to.
Sometimes when Dave's on things, I remember how annoying I am. Like that's legitimately, I'm like, oh man, we just
yeah. I think a good place to start the timer is after we talk about poop on the bathroom floor.
Yeah.
Let's get out of this opening segment.
Sometimes, hey, Dave, I want to talk to you about so you have an album out.
Congratulations.
Did you say you have several?
No, I have a special.
You have a special out. So you have a special out. It's called Goblin.
You can't find it on Spotify yet because I'm still fighting about that.
Wait, what are you still fighting about?
I need to figure out how to get it on like all the audio formats, because originally I was going to try and do it through this record thing, and then that fell through the first one. So now I'm hitting up other people about it to see, because I think it's good. So I'm going to try and like.
Yeah, congratulations. That's awesome.
We talk about like the independence of art and everything, but it's exhausting to be independent all the time.
Yeah, we talk about that a lot. It's exhausting and weirdly boring.
Yeah, exactly. And just before I forget, I mean, after we finish recording, we can talk more about the Spotify stuff, but let's talk about something else now. But yeah, I think the but absolutely, I think the frustration of being an independent artist is a good topic. So
yeah, I mean, it's this thing where it's like at a certain point there is like a level of, you're like, okay, well, I'm not going to get help from the general. I'm either, I'm too weird, I don't fit into something that they feel like they can use, and so you have to just at a certain point go, well, fucking, I really want to do this and I think I'm good enough, so I have to motivate. You have to self-motivate and self-push and do all that stuff. And then like I put together my own thing. I had like help from like family and other people, but it was like putting it all together, and now I'm like, fucking, I just want someone else to figure out the radio.
I don't want it. So what? I mean, Brandon, I'm sure you're more familiar with his set and stuff like that. But what went into like creating the special, and like what did you decide to have on it, and what kind of material and things like that?
So I hit a point about a year and a half ago where I was like, oh, I'm kind of done, or not done. And like, it's funny now because I still do some of those jokes because, I'm not famous, so not everybody's seen it. My fans aren't coming, so to speak. And some of them have evolved since. But the thing that I hit was like a breaking point where I was like, I'm not having fun doing this set anymore. I'm too focused on it. And I'm like, okay, well, it's probably about time then to put it out. If it's boring me, I've gone through and I've told all these jokes hundreds to thousands of times. Some of those jokes are 8 years old because it's like when I started doing comedy, I put some of them together, and now they've evolved, obviously. But now I know Trump is going to be president, so it'll never make it. Just different updates to the jokes. I'm so kidding.
Oh.
That's a great.
Yeah.
I hope everyone sees it. I think this is.
At least it froze on that great image.
Yeah, that's the freeze you wanted. While it's frozen, I'm going to start. So there's this thing called hetero. What is it? Heteronihilism. He's back.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
There you are. Okay.
I noticed because it told me that even though I could see myself moving, no one else could.
It was a really good picture.
It was.
Like,
yeah.
All right. Well, thank God, guys. Leave a beautiful corpse.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, and then in order to like self-produce a special, I have a lot of production experience from PAing and doing my own podcast and other stuff where like I've learned sound design, stuff like that. So basically, I just I went to my childhood theater in Delaware. I hit them up and I was like, "Hey, can I get a deal for doing something here?" And they charged me about half price. And then I talked to a friend of a friend who was like, I know a video editor that you can get that will be good, but also relatively cheap. And then so I put together all that stuff. My mom actually volunteers at theater shows with Brandon actually sometime, or she gets paid for those ones. But
yeah, she's a different theater from me,
but she does another. Yes, I know you guys do. You mostly work at different theaters.
I don't often work with your mom. So when I do work with your mom, I'm accidentally mean to her.
So I put I put it together at the theater. My mom literally ran sound because she's a sound tech now. She like is a volunteer sound tech. Everything was just all like we couldn't even have a bar staff because they didn't apply for the liquor license early enough. So I had to go. I literally the day before had to run and buy like $400 worth of alcohol to put into the venue. It was all I mean it was.
Well, I also like I know this isn't what you meant, but I think it's funny like when you said you went to your theater from when you were a child. I just imagine going to a children's theater and
that's what I did there at the
yeah, going to a children's theater like I'm seeing like performing for a bunch of like 10-year-olds, like knowing the set that I know you have, and then having the $400 worth of alcohol, in
Hey kids, drink up, you little 10-year-olds. Hey, listen, you're not going to enjoy this joke about STDs.
A word he say, but I like that he curses. I like that part.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's definitely some of the 10-year-olds would love it. Let me tell you that.
Listen, I'm all pratfalls and poop if I need to be.
Yeah, that's right. You're not proud, man. So now that the album's done, what does it feel like doing? Like, I know you can still use some of the material, but I feel like you have to build a whole kind of new set. You spent a long time working on this set. What is it like letting it go and making something new?
Also exhausting. No, it's really good. It is exciting, but I feel like I'm naturally an antagonist a little bit, which is probably why I have to do everything independently to a degree. So a lot of the subjects I ended up picking, like that I'm working on right now, it's like, oh, let's talk about all my old religious trauma. Cool. Let's talk about gun control. And then I'm just in North Dakota, and I'm like, guys, I know you all have guns here. I understand. That's not the issue. I would love to talk to you guys about why we should just paint all the guns pig, so that way guys who need to pretend that it's their dick can't do that anymore.
So do you make adjustments to your set like depending on where you are, or do you just like go for it?
I don't really, because I want it to work here. Mm-hmm. It's one of those things that I feel like, we talk about bubbles and everything, and it's like I want a joke that I can perform anywhere. That's really what I want. I want it to be like something where I can go. I want to do it in North Dakota, because otherwise I'm just making another joke that New Yorkers laugh at, and everybody else goes, well, that's kind of not really true.
Mm-hmm.
So what is you spend a lot of time on the road, right? I mean, I know it's weird that I asked, right? What do you think you learned the most out there?
It really does broaden your perspective. It's something it's something like you just when you're out there talking to everybody, as opposed to whatever your bubble is, regardless of it, and everybody has their bubbles and everything, and it's like it really does broaden your perspective of like opinions, and people do bring up stuff you hadn't thought of, and like different ideas and everything, and that way and it also, I feel like it helps me figure out exactly where I do stand on some of these issues. Because I'm a very left-leaning, polyamorous New Yorker person. And so it's very weird. I'm a very different perspective that they're used to hearing. And it's very fun to go out there and like really go see what everybody thinks. And then also the nice thing about comedy is you're literally just making people laugh and have fun with your ideas, and if you can do that right, then it's a much better bonding. It's one of the best bonding experiences you can have.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we talk about a lot sometimes with this podcast is the boredom of making art. What is like the hardest part of like just the grind through, and how do you get through it?
So comedy is really so pure, and it's weird to say like that in that way, but like comedy generally is fun. Like even doing the parts that like suck, but everything else around it is so much worse. Booking, booking yourself places, figuring out where you're going to go. If you're not famous, there's not a demand for you, so you have to then create the demand. Editing clips, editing podcasts, putting together a podcast, all of everything else. Stand-up is so universally fun that everything else around it is exhausting, and it's still one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, and I think that's something that Brandon and I have talked about before, and I think that I think probably all three of us on the same page as that, because it's just, I mean, obviously I'm doing more music and stuff like that, but it's the same kind of grind, just getting the gigs and figuring out what to play and like setting up and all the sound equipment and stuff like that. But then it's like, I can't stop. It's just one of those things that's in my blood.
It's crazy when people are like, I could never do that, and you're like, yeah, I have compulsively have to. Both are
Right.
not ideal.
Yeah, and I remember people like saying, like when I was in high school and whatever, and like, you had musicians come talk to you, or you talk to musicians, people are like, said that thing. They're like, you should only be a musician if there's nothing else that you want to do or can do, or that you have to do it. And like, I didn't really understand what it meant at that time. But it's exactly what you're talking about. It's like, there's just this compulsion where you just can't stop, even if you want to, you just can't stop.
I mean, and I do love that phrase, because there's a very funny joke by this guy, Mike Kaplan, who has this joke where he goes, they say you should only become a comedian if you can't imagine yourself doing anything else. And it's like, that's just a lack of imagination. You probably shouldn't be a comedian then. I can imagine myself doing everything.
Yeah.
It's just once, you have to get through all this. I could be an astronaut. I can imagine myself being an astronaut. I could not imagine myself going to school for 12 years.
Right.
I mean, you can't imagine yourself going to school for 12 years. You did it. You did actually go to school for 12 years. So I
meant 12 more. Sorry, I should have clarified.
Yeah.
For the fine arts education I got at Cecil College, moving on to pre-astronaut degrees or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's how it goes. It goes do an art, stand up, astronaut. That's the trajectory most people make.
That's right. That's why all the astronauts are so funny, is because they just go up there.
Dude, astronauts aren't funny. There are no. I'm going to make an argument that there are no funny. There's no like there are astronauts who are funny for astronauts.
Yeah.
But like, you couldn't put a mic in an astronaut's hand and tell him to do a bit. I would put 99% of the time that astronaut is going to bring up he's an astronaut 6 seconds into a set. He's going to be like, so anyway, I'm an astronaut. Like, that's how he's going to open. It's all going to be about being an astronaut. There's going to be no point of view except for the point of view of being off the Earth.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's a lot of material up there.
Honestly, Brandon, that's very good. Brandon, he absolutely should bring up that he's an astronaut.
Yeah, I don't think he's open. Like, here's the thing. Being an astronaut, there's a handful of things that are like this, which is weird. Because if you're an I've thought of this before. If you're an astronaut, you are only astronauting from really the time you leave Earth to the time you come back. That's when you're doing major astronaut stuff. Right? Other than that, you're training to be if you were an astronaut, come on the pod, talk about being an astronaut. You're wrong. I think
Buzz Aldrin, get on the pod.
Other than that, you're training to be an astronaut. But for some reason, if you're an astronaut for 3 weeks, the rest of your life, that's what you are. It's one of those things that's all you've ever done is if you were an astronaut once.
So I remember this. I remember one time, this is years ago, there was a story about this astronaut who they had this like lovers quarrel.
Oh yeah.
Some kind of thing. Yeah, and she like drove.
Yeah,
she drove like halfway across the country wearing adult diapers.
Yeah.
In her car, so that she didn't have to stop and go over to her lover and fight or whatever. I don't know what the whole story was. Actually, I just remember them driving across the country. So,
she actually had a set in Texas she had to get to, and she didn't have time to stop.
Exactly.
She might have been funny. She might have been a funny act. I just don't think any astronauts.
He was the one.
Funny.
I mean, honestly, Brandon, we've never done anything as funny as driving across country to go find my lover while wearing diapers because I've determined that I don't have enough time to stop.
Although that sounds like one of your bits that you would do from what you were talking about earlier. So.
Yeah, it's like a lifetime bit.
Hey, 10-year-olds, you guys want to hear about love? Real love.
Yes, that's
Quick,
very
drink up.
So thanks for being on the pod, Dave.
Thanks for being on my pod.
Thanks for podding it up, my guy. It's going into negative time.
It's going to negative. Yeah. Actually, I should keep that going. Let's see how far in the negative we go.
Let's see how far in the future, Dave. So pinch your stuff.
I feel like I'm a bad influence on Andrew. He's like, fuck it, we'll go into the negative, man. We'll get into negative stuff.
That's right. We're breaking the rules now. Breaking the rules.
Yeah,
but yeah,
let's talk about things we hate.
Respectfully over.
Yeah, it's but it is really good to see you. So do you have anything? We talked about your special. Anything else you want to promote, or website, or podcast?
I mean, yeah, Goblin King is the main thing. It's on YouTube. If you just search Goblin King comedy, I'm the non-David Bowie result. And at DPIC comedy on Instagram, and on TikTok, I'm Lit Grandma 69 or 420. I'm Lit Grandma, and I'm either 69 or 420. Maybe I'm both. No, I think I'm 69.
Send me all the info. I can put it in the
I'll put it in
description.
I went viral twice, but Lit Grandma 69. How funny would it be if that's what's successful? And then I just have to be like, guys, go see David Piccolomini, aka Lit Grandma 69.
You can fix that later, though, right?
I'll put the right one. I'll put it in the description. Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't want to screw up your artistry between 69 and 420.
I think that was the original. I was like, I don't want to make a TikTok. You make your name whatever you want. I was like, I'll just make it like Grandma 69 420. They're like, yeah, sure, we'll do that.
Anything goes.
What do you guys want to plug?
We talk. Yeah.
This is just a segment on the podcast.
Yeah. We just give you the opportunity to do the thing. If you're here, the stuff that is Yonko, you're already in. Like, it would be weird if this is first. Like, you should check out the Zodiac cycle. Both cycles are up. We finally got Leo back up. We got, I guess next week is we're dropping illegal scam hold music, which is new and exciting.
Hopefully,
Sampler, which is out.
Yeah. Hopefully by the time this one comes out, then we'll have hold music coming up soon. So
so illegal scam hold music will be almost out by that.
Yeah.
And then Sampler is already out, and everyone should check out Sampler because Sampler's sick.
It's so weird to be talking to people in the future and trying to adjust your brain for that.
Dude, it's a nightmare.
But some people do it seamlessly. That's why they get paid the big bucks. They can they're like, today is tomorrow and also next Tuesday.